the Dodgers make a big move acquiring a couple Tampa Bay Rays. You got that on you right now?
Yeah, I got both passing tweets as far as baseball goes. One involves a former Oriole, one involves Tyler Glasnow. So the first one, Jeff Passan is reporting the Dodgers and the Rays are in agreement to trade Tyler Glasnow and Manuel Margot to the Dodgers for Ryan Pepiot, Johnny DeLuca, and contingent on Glasnow signing an extension with LA, which is expected. Sources tell ESPN. And then Passan also tweeting, right-handed starter Jack Flaherty and the Tigers in agreement on a 1-year, $14 million deal. Sources tell ESPN. So there you go. There you have it.
So let's start with the big one first. Dodgers. You think that they care about spending? Do you think they care about anything? They're going for a super team out there. I know they really wanted Randy Arozarena. That was a guy that they really wanted, and who wouldn't want Randy? He does his pose, and he hits over 1,000 OPS, or he has 1,000 OPS in the postseason. The guy's a bona fide superstar.
Bona fide. This is the second time. I let it slide the first time when you said to Kevin. Bona fide.
Bona fide?
Okay, let's continue.
Is it bona fide or bona fide?
Bona fide.
Well, apparently I say especially instead of especially.
Yeah, whoever commented.
You do say that a lot, but I've said bona fide too.
That.
You remember we talked about NBA Street Volume 2, bona fide. He was one of the characters on that. He was like one of the unlockables. So, yeah.
Okay, let's.
I don't know if anyone remembers that, but like
that
I
game
do.
Stretch
Monroe. Yeah, Little Biggie.
Oh, I'm gonna have to go play that game. That's one of my favorites. We're gonna get
back on. Sorry.
Thanks. Okay, but anyway, it's a massive deal, and I get it. Tater Tots is saying owners with deep pockets, but it's also thinking about what the Dodgers have done. Let's just take it out. The Dodgers are really, besides maybe the Yankees might be spending really big here upcoming. The Dodgers are so locked into this, and yes, they're in a massive market. Ohtani's working with the team to make this more manageable for them, but the Dodgers are fully in for the next 5 to 10 years. You know, this is their window. And Freddie, I'd say the next 5 years. Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, they're in their primes. In the next 5 years, it's going to be a different outlook. You have Ohtani that does everything. No guarantee he's going to be the same pitcher, but you hope. Now you're adding Margot's a very, very solid player, but the big news is Glasnow. That dude's a stud. And when he's healthy, and he's coming off of with Tommy John, I believe, last year. So when he is fully healthy and he came back, and you started to see it last year that he was finally getting back to that form, that's going to be a disgusting rotation they're going to have. And that's still with the fact that Yamamoto, right, has not signed anywhere, at least as I'm speaking right now.
Yeah, he visited Philly today. And also I want to point out, because yes, the Dodgers are going to extend. It looks like Glasnow. I think that's part of it. But to pull off a trade like this, it doesn't just take money. The Dodgers, as much as people give them crap for buying championships or attempting to, they only have one.
Yep.
But for always being this big market trying to buy players, the reason they were able to pull this trade off is because they have a top 10 farm system. So the Dodgers are one of those weird teams where it's not like some of these big, when you think of the Yankees and stuff, where it's their big stars and then nothing else. They'll just go buy whoever's next. The Dodgers are consistently churning out good young players that they then trade and get these stars back so that they can then pay massive money.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point you made. The Dodgers farm system is actually sneaky, very solid. That's why their run continues. They can get players. And when other teams try to do it, when they decimate, when you look at the Los Angeles Angels, the other team out there, they have one of the worst farm systems. And you can see when they try to buy talent and they don't have the homegrown talent, you're not going to be able to have enough success. And that's the problem. That is the reality of the situation. New York actually usually has a pretty solid system, but some of their moves, they've been missing a couple parts. But New York, that's the reason why they've been relevant, is because they've done a good job with their farm system. Now, I want to flip this on the Tampa Bay side so people can understand for Orioles fans. Tampa does this all the time. When they realize that they are not going to be able to extend a guy, they're going to go and get the highest value they can for these specific players. So who they're going to get, who they got back, I am very confident that Tampa Bay is going to have those players be very successful for them.
Sadly.
That's just what they've done.
That's what they do. That's the Tampa Bay Rays run on like a 5-year cycle. And it's like have a really good young team that then wins 80 games, then wins like 90 games, wins 100 games. Everyone's like, oh my God, these guys are so young and good. Then they trade them all, start over, win 80 games, win 90 games, win 100 games, go for a World Series, trade them all, start over. And it's just a weird, they never sign anyone to these extensions. They just are very okay with being like, we're good at what we do. We're good at going out and developing these guys. So why would we pay $100 million for a guy that we can trade you for 3 guys that we can develop into good ball players?
Yeah, honestly, the Rays, every time we faced them, their minor league system, they just were disgusting. It felt like they were a machine. They kept battling back over and over and over again. And by the way, Randy Arozarena, who they're keeping right now, that was a byproduct of being traded there. That was a package deal that they were able to get. So he didn't come through their system. They have traded for guys that turn out to be stars. And the other one, Blake Snell, when they realized we're going to trade him at peak value, they traded him away. Now, Blake Snell's still one of the best players, but that's how Tampa works. So if you think Tampa's just going to fall off the face of the earth,
no,
they're not. But does that diminish their beginning outlook to this season? It's a little bit different because you are losing an ace of the staff. And keep this in mind, Shane McClanahan, their other ace on their team, is going to be coming back from, I believe he had Tommy John surgery, and he's not going to be back for the majority of the season. So that is a boost for the Baltimore Orioles in the sense that the Rays are not as strong right now. But, man, do me a favor, everyone. Do not count the Rays out.
They lost their entire – they lost what – I was going to say they lost their entire rotation last year and were still competitive. So you can never count these guys out.
Yeah,
I'll make that argument. And since the All-Star break, the Rays were actually pretty fucking terrible. I'll say this: they're probably going to start off terrible. We'll see what happens in the second half of this season, but it's going to be a down year for the Rays. I'm making that prediction, and also the Dodgers are going to choke again in the first round of the playoffs.
Oh, I think so.
Moving on.
What do you consider a down year for the Rays? Because I consider a down year for the Rays them just like 77 wins.
Well, for them not being a contending for the division, not making the playoffs would be a down year. So that's what Brad's saying. I think the prediction is they'll be down. And the other part of it, just Brad, I know we got to move on, but with Jack Flaherty, he's gone now with the Orioles. He's not coming back. $14 million contract for 1 year. I know people didn't love the sensation or they felt like he was a good fit. I think Flaherty can have a really, really good year. He's talented, but I get that that's not how people in Baltimore felt. The same way that Phillies fans felt with Craig Kimbrell down the stretch. But I think Craig Kimbrell's going to have a great year in Baltimore.
We thought the same thing when he came here, though, Rep. We thought the same thing when he got traded here. And what I think Jack Flaherty needs is he just needs a fresh start somewhere other than Baltimore. So good for him. Yeah. He got paid 1 year for, maybe not in baseball terms he got paid, because 14 mil, is that even a lot in baseball anymore?
He got less than
less than Kimbrell.
Well, no, he got more than Kimbrell. He got $1 million more.
Yep.
I think this is what Jack Flaherty needed in his career, just going forward, just a fresh start with a different team, and good for him.